Master woodworker Norm Abram fixed up old homes and made beautiful furniture on this old house and the new Yankee workshop. Fans were shocked, confused, and full of questions when Norm Abram left this old house all of a sudden. Norm finally breaks his quiet after 3 years, and what he says is not what anyone thought he would say. It wasn't just wanting to slow down, quit, or get tired. The real reason for his choice is very personal, emotional, and shocking. Fans of Norm Abram who thought they knew the man behind the clothing are about to see a new side of him. Prepare to change your mind about everything you thought you knew about why he left. Because this isn't just a man leaving a show, there is a quiet hero in this story who has to deal with something bigger than himself. He went from being poor to becoming a TV star. The story of Norm Abrams doesn't start in a studio or on a huge building site. Instead, it starts in a quiet part of Boston, Massachusetts. Norm learned how to be a carpenter early on and without much pomp because he was born into a working-class family. 10-year-old Norm rolled up his sleeves on Christmas Eve 1958 to work with his skilled Boston builder father. Their job was easy and had been done that way for a long time, putting down hardwood floors the old-fashioned way, with milk crates propped up on end of a cut nail and an upside-down skill saw. Through these early events, I learned how to be dedicated to craftsmanship for the rest of my life. Norm didn't rush into big projects or look for easy ways to do things. Instead, he took his time and did things the right way. It wasn't a break on the weekends or during the summer, but a time to learn the job slowly and carefully. This slow and steady training changed the way he thought. It was a place where measure twice, cut once wasn't just a saying, but a way of life. Over time, Norm became known for having high standards and being quiet. This is very different from the rising chaos and showiness in many trades. After almost 20 years in 1978, things began to change. Norm was hired by a TV director named Russell Marash to build a barn, a project that would change Norm's job path in a way that no one expected. Russell, who is known for creating some of the first teaching shows, thought Norm's skills and personality were unique. After seeing his work for himself, he asked Norm to join a new project where they would fix up an old house in Dorchester while filming the process for TV. This old house, which first aired in 1979, was born here. At that time, there weren't many home improvement shows. It was an original idea to turn the dirty, hands-on work of woodworking into primetime entertainment. Norm quickly became the show's heart and soul. His steady voice and friendly personality helped viewers understand the complicated steps of repair and restoration. With his signature plaid shirts and useful tools, Norm wasn't just showing people how to build things. He was bringing a country into a world where quality work was important. Over the next 40 years, Norm's presence on this old house became well known. He was in more than 1,000 episodes and was in charge of more than 50 home improvement projects. The new Yankee Workshop, which had almost 300 episodes, helped him become more well known. Norm wasn't just a TV builder, he was a sign of reliable knowledge. People in his time looked to him for useful advice, clear explanations, and a respect for custom. What was different about Norm that he always cared about quality? His humble personality hid a fierce dedication to his work. Norm's charm came from the little things, unlike many TV stars who relied on flashy tricks. The perfect seam, the clean cut, and the finish that is smooth. This honesty hit home with viewers deeply, turning casual watchers into devoted fans. In New England and many other places, Norm Abram was more. It became a mantra for generations of do-it-yourselfers that measure twice, cut once meant the same thing as Norm's method. Even though Norm was famous, he never lost sight of the simple joy of making and fixing things up. Many years ago, he learned how to be careful, pay attention to detail, and be proud of a job well done from his father. He never forgot those skills. Even though the worlds of TV and home improvement were changing quickly around him, this link to custom kept his work honest. The show about this old house became more famous and won 20 Emmys out of 117 nominations. Norm became a respected figure among viewers and his peers. People who worked with him praised his quiet leadership, technical skill, and unwavering politeness. Many people thought he was the best carpenter ever. Norm's job changed over the years, but his presence stayed the same. He didn't just work on a bunch of projects over the course of his career. It was a story of skill, learning, and confidence. Norm Abram was this old house's face for 43 years, the living legend whose popularity changed the way people watch TV shows about house improvements. Even though it had been a long and well-known trip, rumors started to spread around the time Norm announced he was retiring. Why, after all these years, would someone so important to a well-liked show decide to leave? What could have made the master builder decide to end this chapter? The rise and fall of this old house. When This Old House debuted in 1979, it was a new kind of show on American TV. It was a mix of education, fun, and real-life home improvement. At the center of it all was Norm Abram. People quickly became devoted to the show, not only for the projects, but also to see Norm's calm professionalism at work. His calm approach to building things out of wood and fixing things up set the tone. This Old House showed home repair as a serious craft, unlike other shows of the time that were more focused on drama or big makeovers. People were encouraged to learn along with Norm, one step at a time. It was like getting a master class in woodworking from a trusted friend, as I watched Norm use his hands with great care and explain the reasoning behind every cut and joint. The show's popularity kept going up as the years went by. By the mid-1980s, This Old House was in many American homes and had inspired many people to get tools and fix things. Norm's easygoing and friendly personality made projects that might have seemed hard or scary less scary. People knew him right away because of his steady voice and plaid clothes. When the new Yankee Workshop opened in 1989, it was a big deal in Norm's career. This spin-off was more focused on craft projects, giving Norm a chance to show off his skills in making furniture, cabinets, and other beautiful things out of wood. In more than 300 episodes, Norm built everything from chairs to complicated moldings, always putting an emphasis on skill and workmanship. Fans got a better look at the artistry behind the work on this show, which made Norm's image even stronger. These shows had an effect that went beyond being fun. This Old House was turned into a place where both homeowners and pros could learn. Episodes were used as teaching tools in schools and trade shows, and Norm was often asked to speak at events for his business. Because he explained things in simple terms, even people who were new to crafting could understand them. The size of This Old House also grew during this time. The projects got bigger and more varied as time went on. They started with single rooms and ended up including whole houses and even community buildings. There were new problems every season, but Norm was always there to help. His work attitude and attention to detail are the best in the business. Behind the scenes, Norm had a great image among his coworkers as well. Peers liked both how humble he was and how well. The show was bought by Roku, a big name in streaming technology, in 2021, which marked a move towards digital media. This growth opened up new chances, but it also brought new problems. The rate at which information was made sped up. People started to like faster, more exciting shows, and the way people thought about home improvement started to change. Even though Norm's regular careful style was still important, things were changing around him. But Norm never changed his mind about what was right. Even though the tides were changing, his steady presence gave us a sense of stability and confidence. For his fans, he was always there, the trusty expert who knew everything there was to know about his job. But even legends have times when they need to change. Norm began to think about leaving after more than 40 years. Many people were shocked when they heard that he was retiring. Naturally, there were questions, rumblings, and guesses. When Norm Abrams said he was leaving This Old House after more than 40 years, it made waves in the home repair community and people who like TV. He made his choice without much pomp or explanation. It was firm but quiet. People were trying to figure out why someone who was so connected to the show and craft would leave at what seemed to be the height of his power. Such quiet quickly led to rumors and guesses. The most obvious idea was that Norm just wanted to spend his retirement taking a well-deserved break. Besides, having a 43-year run on one show and almost 300 episodes of the new Yankee Workshop was an impressive feat that not many people could match. Norm had worked hard for decades, traveling, recording, and always trying to make home improvement TV more interesting. It made sense to think that he might want to take it easy, spend time with his family, or work on personal projects away from press. Some thought that health might have had something to do with it. It was reasonable to think that the physical demands of carpentry and the busy routine of filming could have worn him down over time. Carpentry is a tough job that requires strength, accuracy, and endurance, which isn't easy to keep up after years of work. There were no public reports of major health problems, but some people thought that worries about his age might have played a role in his decision. Even so, Norm's silence opened the door to more strange ideas. Over the years, fans and people who work in the business started to think that maybe his leaving had something to do with changes in how the show was made or its creative direction. The fact that Roku bought This Old House in 2021 was a big change. Streaming platforms often change their priorities to focus on getting younger audiences and faster-paced material, which might be different from Norm's style, which is slow and focused on details. Some sources said there might be creative differences going on behind the scenes. Since Norm is known for his old-fashioned work and attention to detail, he may have been at odds with directors who wanted to bring the show up to date or add more entertainment elements. There were rumors that Norm's plan to keep standards high may have been harmed by the need to make more shows quickly or to appeal to a changing audience. In the past few years, fans who watched the show regularly have noticed small changes. The episodes started to focus on bigger ideas. On top of the repair work itself, like design trends or features that make life easier, this made it more appealing to more people, but it also changed the tone and focus that Norm had helped set. This was a big change for longtime watchers who loved seeing the hands-on work. People were also guessing about Norm's personal beliefs. Some people thought that Norm, whose image was built on honesty and quality, might have been unhappy with how those values seemed to be slipping in the newer episodes. Others, though, it's interesting that Norm didn't say anything about these rumors in public. Not like a lot of famous people who answer rumors right away, he kept his cards close to his chest. This reluctance only made people more interested. During this time, interviews with coworkers and managers sent mixed messages. Some people praised Norm's work and showed mutual respect, while others talked about the difficulties that would come with changing a show that had been on the air for over 40 years. It's not always easy to balance tradition and new ideas, especially in a medium that counts on ratings and viewer engagement. Fans responded in their own unique ways. There were a lot of tributes, memories, and questions on social media, a lot of ideas on forums, and petitions asking Norm to change his mind or explain his choice. A lot of people saw Norm as more than a builder. He was a trusted teacher and a symbol of stability in a media world that was always changing, both in terms of the show's direction and the media business as a whole. This old house had grown into a lot more over the years than just a DIY show. Over time, it grew into a well-known name that people trusted for advice and was a leader in its field. But as with any long-running show, things changed behind the scenes, and Norm Abrams' setting started to change along with it. When Roku bought this old house and the names that went with it, it was a sign of a larger trend. Traditional TV is giving way to digital platforms that need to change material quickly, appeal to a wider audience, and have formats that work with the culture of binge watching. Roku gave the show more funding and a wider audience, but it also brought new problems. Since everything is streamed now, shows had to get people's attention quickly. Content had to be snappier, shorter, and more entertaining a lot of the time, which meant that depth or skill had to be sacrificed.